What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast. Joining me this week is our previous guest, the Nav. Nav,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
I wanted to have Nav on. He's been retired a while now. What about a year now?
Yeah, a little over a year. February 4th, 2021. Yeah, February 4th, 2021.
All right, so you've had a little more time to reflect. So maybe we'll get some different answers this time. We'll see. I wanted to start out with last week was the anniversary of the Father's Day fire, and I know your firehouse was affected. Were you working there when the fire happened, or were you still in it?
No, so when the Father's Day fire happened, I was in my my 14 weeks, and just as a reminder, what the 14 weeks was is there were 3 classes, mine and Rob's being 2 of them, where out of the academy they sent us to a temporary house for 7 weeks in an engine, 7 weeks in a truck, and then the way it was supposed to go, the way it went for my class was we went back to the academy for 3 weeks, and then we got our permanent assignments. So when I was in my 14-week assignment, that was when Father's Day happened, and then about a month later, I was assigned to Engine 292, sharing quarters with Rescue 4, and Rescue 4, of course, lost 2 of the 3 guys that died on Father's Day.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I kind of know what that's like to walk into a firehouse after somebody just died. But what was the feel like?
Honestly, I was as nervous as can be. Once I found out, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to the houses. They're and then sure enough, I got there. They were very, very welcoming and everything, without a doubt. I was the probie coming in. They were, it was a great house. It is a great house, and but they were definitely reeling. I mean, the 2 guys that died in that house were 2 of like the senior leaders of the house. There was Harry Ford, who was like a legend to this day. He's still a legend, and then Brian Fahey was also, I forget if they were like 1 and 2. Harry was definitely the senior man. I forget if Brian was number 2, but anyway, he was up there. So that the house was floored. The guys were, some guys were just in a depression, walking around and stuff like that. And I had a guy, I won't say his name, but as soon as I walked in the door, telling me to get out as soon as I can, and everything else, not meanly saying it, like, it's like, just get out as soon as you can, and stuff. And, he was just, traumatized and everything,
Right. Well, then 9/11 happened like 2 months later. So what I always wondered that, like, those houses where, I mean, I think Garumba died like a couple of weeks before 9/11, right? So
Mike, who was also in my class, Mike Garumba, so that was really, well, I guess my first line of duty death was Father's Day, and then came Mike Garumba, and the guys actually, had no idea, of course, having no idea what was about to happen with 9/11, but they were very great. They knew that I didn't know Mike very well. I knew him, of course, but I didn't know him very well. But the guys, including the guy that told me to get out as soon as I can, he was very, supportive and everything. He's, because they had just gone through it, on a greater level, because they obviously knew the guys who died a lot better than I knew Mike,
Right.
But so anyways,
so what did he say something to you after that? Did you guys actually have a conversation? Because that's a little, well, I guess fucked up is the right word. Like, he tells you to get out, and then a guy.
Well, when he sasaid get out, he was talking. He meant get out of that house, like he was saying, not the. He said, go somewhere where you're like, there was some, what happens. There's always misplaced anger, like after. I mean, as you saw after 9/11, how much infighting and stuff like that was going on, just from guys dealing with the stress and everything else, and their own emotions and everything else. They misplaced the anger, and that was kind of, he was the guy that I'm speaking of was upset with the engine for whatever reason. He was just like, get out of this shit house. You go to a good house and all this other stuff. That's more what it was, like that, but which was totally false. I mean, the Engine 292 was a great spot to be in, and I got great work there. I got taught good stuff there. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the house. It was just this one guy's PTSD or whatever you want to call it, that was right. Misplaced anger.
That happens a lot. There's a lot of those guys floating around who don't deal with with
and then right, exactly. And then it was 9/11. So one of like the stories that always sticks with me is how Brian Hickey was the captain of Rescue 4, and he was still out from the Father's Day fire where he had gotten injured, and and it was his first 24 back to work. He was working overtime, and you know, he got put full duty. He got an overtime tour, and well, I don't want to mess up. I think it was in Rescue 2. I can't remember now, but anyway, he was working in a different company. He wasn't in Rescue 4, and of course, he wound up dying. You know, so it was, you know, so here it is. They got you know, they finally getting their captain back, and who was beloved. I mean, he was one of the most loved people ever, and he you know, of course, didn't survive, but so you know, so anyways, it was just like then going into, as you lived through yourself in 136 and 287, you know, you know, just a series of funerals and families, you know, families of the people that died and whatnot, and you know, so it was just, you know, it just became that became the all-consuming thing. Father's Day, sadly, it's not to say that it was forgotten, but it was certainly like, you know, not the focus anymore, you know, even though those guys deserve to be, you know, thought about and revered for, you know, eternally, you know, but, and they are, you know, don't get me wrong, they are, but it's just that, you know, things change when something as drastically dramatic as 9/11 happens, you know, so.
Yeah, right. I mean, ordinarily losing 5 guys in 6 months or 7 months would have been you know, one of the worst years in the history of the job. And then,
yeah, it's crazy,
you know, I don't know, man. So now that you've been retired a little longer, I've noticed you've been writing a lot more music, but
yeah,
you know, how are you feeling about, have you processed, you know, a lot of the shit that you dealt with, or is that what your music's about?
Sometimes it is, you know, for sure. You know, it's hard to say. People ask that, you know, like, you know, you understand on a different level because you are in the same boat as me. You've just been out longer than me, you know, but it's hard to say, like, you know, because you don't like feel yourself, you know, so to speak, processing, you know, you are processing, you don't feel it happening, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess the answer is yes, you know, yes and no, maybe, because like I'll go through periods where I'll be thinking, you know, at one point I was doing, you know, I was working on a, you know, on a memoir, so to, you know, like for lack of a better word, you know, like about my time in the fire department, and I kind of got a little bit, I don't know what the word is, disheartened or whatever, and I stopped working on it. I know I'm going to get back to it, you know, but just in general, about myself, and I've always been a writer. I've always loved to write. I've always, you know, had my goofy, you know, forms of art that I pursue, and you know, on my own, you know, not like in any kind of you know, like professional way or whatever, and so just having the time now where I can really put more time into it has been a gift, you know. I mean, I love it, you know, and so therefore, as you speak about the songs, you know, it's been fun for me to be able to get better at playing the guitar. So, because I've always written poems and stories and everything else. So just transitioning them to songs has been kind of, I think of it as a vehicle for the words, because for me, it's always the words come first, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's been great. As far as is it a processing of I'm sure everything that we do and everything that we say kind of comes from everything that brought us to that point, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what creates the filter, right? It's all the bullshit. But
yes.
I wonder if, I mean, you ended up doing 20 years, even though you didn't necessarily leave on your own terms. Seems like you were ready to leave.
I definitely was at that point, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if that makes a difference, because
I think it does. I think that people that get out, you know, like you didn't really get out on your terms. You know, you were, all of a sudden it was like, oh, you know, you're hurt, you know, you're having problems, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, you're not going back to work. You know, like you weren't looking for it. You know, me, I was very likely going to get out at 20 years regardless at that point, mainly because of the age that my kids were at. And, you know, I'm repeating stuff that you already know, but, you know, my son was going to be starting middle school the following year. My daughter was going to be starting high school the following year. So it was a good line for if we were going to leave New York, you know, and, you know, change schools and stuff. And so that's what we did. So that was always, you know, in our thoughts is like one possible plan. And then as it was getting close, you know, now we're going through COVID and everything else. And you know, just in general, it was, you know, the city is, I hate to say it, and has been falling apart. You know, it's, you know, the you know, these iconic businesses and restaurants and stuff just getting put out of business by the greed of the landlords and the laws that, you know, allow them to be greedy like that. Because, you know, they're like, yeah, we're going to double your rent on your lease, and if you don't want it, great, because we're going to get tons of tax benefits to not have a business in there or whatever else, you know.
Right.
So, you know, so the city felt, you know, the city was losing its heart and soul a little bit, you know. And so for me, you know, I was a little burned out anyway, and it's also just dealing with the shit and dealing with internal politics, external politics. I hate to even use the word politics because I hate talking about politics, but but in general, like when I say internal politics, just like, every firehouse has its own politics, and we have to deal with each other, and we love each other, but sometimes we can't stand each other and all that,
Right.
And so, I was ready, I was definitely ready. And then, so when I started having the issues with my lungs, in one sense, the timing was good, I mean, it's like, I'm sorry that it happened, but if I was going to get out, anyway, then, and I started having issues, I guess it was probably a couple of years prior to my getting out that it started to really creep up, and it just started increasing or whatever. But if it was going to happen, I'm glad it happened late and not early,
Right.
I'd rather be able to run marathons and stuff like that right now. But
I mean, those stories, like you just said about Captain Hickey, and I could think of like Captain Stackpole and guys like that who came back from these injuries, only to be killed shortly thereafter. I think about that a lot myself, just because, like you, I was dealing with all the health issues and hiding it and trying to keep my job, and then a fucking building fell on my head and pretty much, I wouldn't say ruined my life, but certainly altered it drastically, when it didn't have to happen. So I don't know. I guess that's why I still haven't found peace with it. Certainly not living on my own terms has caused me issues, but also the way I got out. Like, how it is. You just mentioned it, the firehouse politics, right? People see a 33-year-old guy getting out, and I'm sure you heard it, a lot of guys had a lot of things to say, and a lot of people thinking it was bullshit, which unfortunately now a lot of those people are dealing with the health issues and calling me for help, which is fun. But
you definitely, I was gonna say, you definitely have become like a kind of a resident expert on a lot of the things that guys need help with. So like, you are certainly a commodity,
right. Like I don't begrudge anybody for stupid shit they probably said in the kitchen, and things that got back to me. But I certainly haven't forgotten, but I'm happy to help anybody who needs help. And I think a lot of people, firemen will never admit it or say it, but I think a lot of people realized maybe they should have shut the fuck up. But something you just said, also what you just said too about the city, I had an experience recently. I went to a concert with my wife, and I could not believe what a shithole the city is. Like, you can't walk down the street without 5 people with no shirts on and their pants falling off, begging you for money with joints hanging out of their mouth. Like, it's, I don't know, trying not to be hyperbolic, but I was disgusted, and it only exacerbated my unresolved issues with my health and my injuries, because I kind of felt like, what the fuck did I do it for? Like, this is the city that I gave all this to, and this is what it's become. Like, I don't know.
But I mean,
better ways to look at it, but
I know what you mean. I definitely
hard
do.
Not to feel that way,
It is. And I think for you though, like that kind of what did I do it for, or whatever. It's like, it's, in your case, it's almost become less about the city itself and more about how you can help the people, because you have, I mean, whether you give yourself credit or not, you have been an enormous help for so many people, just with your, work alone, that when you were going down to Congress all the time and stuff, but even after that, just, you're always like, you never care if it's a person that you has done you wrong in the past or whatever, you're always there to help. That's the thing. People are like, I speak to the podcast. If you don't know Rob is one of the greatest helpers, and sources of information that people like me could have, So
yeah, well, I appreciate that, but sometimes it's hard to feel that way.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about some happier stuff.
Right.
So if you haven't followed the Nav yet, you should, but the Nav has been performing publicly for the first time.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, I
Okay.
know running into fires is nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
Especially some of the ones that you've been to. What would you say the difference is between that and getting up on stage in front of people and spilling your soul?
That's a good question. When you're getting ready to go into a fire, like one of the things for me, and I think for a lot of firemen that I worried about more than the idea of like, oh, wait a second, there's fire that can actually burn me to death or smoke that can suffocate me to death or whatever. I never really got, that never really bothered me. It wasn't that I was so brave. I'm just like foolhardy or whatever. But the idea of, I hope I don't fuck up. I hope I don't fuck up. That's the thing that always, is the thing that I had the most fear about. I just don't want to fuck up. I don't want to, both cause anybody else any danger, but also I don't want to look bad in front of the other guy and stuff like that. So that kind of a fear is very strong. So what I've been doing is I've been going to these open mics. It's not like I've been, like getting I'm getting called by all these venues and they're like, hey, Rich, we need you to come. It's just open mics I've been doing so far. But but I get great feedback. Actually, it's been pretty cool. And but like every single time, I'm just waiting for my turn and I'm just like, okay, God, I hope I don't forget the words. I hope I don't, miss strum or whatever. I hope, my voice doesn't crack like I'm going through puberty or something,
Right.
So it's like that's where where the comparable fears are,
Right. It's like a different type of nervousness, right?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I did a live TV interview and it was like 5:30 in the morning and I was sitting in what seemed like a closet at Fox News down in Washington, staring at a hole in the wall. And I'm like, I was like shaking, once we started talking, I was not, but I was like, I'd rather run into a fire than sit here and stare at this hole in the wall, waiting to say something. I don't know. You're right though. That fear of fucking up publicly is worse than the,
because there's also like a team aspect to firefighting too.
Yeah.
So whereas like when you're up like it's like in front of a live camera or on a stage with a few people watching or whatever, you're like, it's just you, like the spotlight's on you, so it's
yeah. Well, sometimes the spotlight's on you at a fire though.
That's true too, especially when you fuck up, the thing that we worry about, right? Then the spotlight's really on you. You heard about Rich,
Or when you're on the tip of the aerial having trouble getting a window open and the chief has some choice words for you on the radio.
Yeah.
Which I won't repeat. Anyway, it was pretty funny. He recently retired, I heard too, but maybe we'll get him on.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about right there.
It was what was his name? The guy in the first division, McFadden, I think. Is that his name?
Oh,
no, that's not it.
Yeah,
I don't know. He had some choice words for me on the tip of an aerial one day.
Oh, okay,
I actually started laughing while I was up there. It was pretty funny. All right, so where are we here? I don't want to keep you all morning. I know Nav just closed on a new house, so
yeah.
As you can see, he never got around to decorating the house that he's been living in.
What are you talking about? I got a whiteboard calendar.
All right. Well, wasn't that there the last time? You had something hanging.
Yeah, that's my finest art.
All right.
At least in this.
I don't keep a calendar anymore. Got nothing to write up there. So you have any songs? Let's hear a song and then I want to dissect it. So give me something.
Okay.
Let's hear something that you had planned and then let's talk about it. So
all right. Sounds good. All right. So in that case, I was a little bit unsure which song, I should pick to play, so this one is kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better way, I'm going to call it my signature song right now because it's, you know, it's a good song about life and stuff. People seem to like it, you know, and I'm trying to get the guitar onto this too, so you can see my my blazing fingers and everything else, you know. So, but so you know, I had a few different ones I was going to choose from. I'll tell you real quick. I have this one called "The Sounds of Summertime," which I think is a really nice song. It's just like a happy little song or whatever. And then I got this other one called "Folk Song," which I was thinking about doing, which I thought might be a little too long though, because it's like, you know, it's not that long, you know, but it's anyways. And anyway, then there's this one. It's called "In Stride." So I hope you can hear me through my computer. You know,
you're good, man.
All right, cool. Someday when I'm 55, I may lose my faculties, or I may get a tooth disease, or by then I might have fleas. But if I fall apart, oh please, I hope I'll keep my love. But if I fall apart, oh please, I hope I'll keep my memories. I hope at least I'll keep my memories. I've lost my hair, I've lost my lungs, but I still have a gifted tongue for singing about life and love. And I ain't going nowhere, son. I'm older now, I've hit my stride. I'm not exactly a fine wine, but thank God I'm still alive. Thank God I'm still alive. I've been around a time or two, but goddamn, a girl like you only comes around once in a lifetime. Now here I am in my stride, keeping pace with... I'm sorry. But
that is so ironic that you lost it while you were in your stride.
I know, right? And usually I get that song perfectly. You know what it is? You're making me nervous, Rob. You're making me nervous.
I'm making you nervous?
No. I'm making me nervous. Is that something that we're going to be allowed to cut out, or am I stuck with that?
I don't know. I might have to leave it in there now.
All right. Do you want me to start over, or should I do a different one?
I gotta keep going, man. It's cool. The people get it.
Yeah. By the way, that's one of my big things also. When I'm doing that, like I always say to myself, if I fuck up, I'm just going to keep playing. I'm just going to keep playing, because I hate that like idea of starting and stopping. But anyway, that's what I just did. So I'm going to start from the beginning, if that's cool. Do we got time for that?
Whatever you want to do, bro.
All right.
You got the floor. Let's go.
All right.
Don't fuck it up though.
Someday when I'm 55, I may lose my faculties, or I may get a tooth disease, or by then I might have fleas. But if I fall apart, oh please, I hope I'll keep my memories. I hope at least I'll keep my memories. I've lost my hair, I've lost my lungs, but I still have a gifted tongue for singing about life and love. And I ain't going nowhere, son. I'm older now, I've hit my stride. I'm not exactly a fine wine, but thank God I'm still alive. Thank God I'm still alive. I've been around a time or two, but goddamn, a girl like you only comes around once in a lifetime. Now here I am in my stride with a fine girl at my side. That's you and me in stride, walking through our lives side by side. Back when I was 22, I drank away my faculties. I didn't know what I would be by the time that I reached 33. The years to come were all hazy with choices that I couldn't see, and that was just fine with me. I was 22 and in my stride, not belted in for any ride, just wandering throughout my mind, knowing I had time on my side. I wrote this song at 51, and looking back on all I've done, I've had a daughter and a son, and been myself to everyone. I've glided through the horizon and fought my way into the sun. You're damn right, I'm proud of all I've done. Now here I am, still in my stride, keeping pace with my own life, with arms up for this wild ride, until it takes me to the other side. Thank you.
Much better the second time.
Second time was a little better.
All right, man. Well, good luck with everything. Thanks
All right, well,
again
thanks.
for your song.
Yeah, my song and a half.
Your song and a half, but I like that one, man. That's a good one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
You know, it's definitely.
Sadly, I never mess that one up because I probably played it more than anything else. And then
That's what I'm saying. It's
on the
ironic
spot.
to mess up a song called "In My Stride." I just think it's
Yeah.
perfect nav.
Yeah,
But all right, bro. Well, good luck.
all right, thanks, Rob.
Hopefully next season we'll have you back on and you can bring us some more navisms and some more
Sounds
stories.
good.
But
Sounds
take
good.
care of yourself out there, bro.
You too, Rob. It's always good to see your face, good to hear your voice and all that, man. So thank you.
All right, man. Keep in touch.
Will do.